everyone, welcome to this very quick tutorial on how to create the room and the window. Everyone can add anything they want after this. This is just the basic base. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is take out a cube. And our room is going to be 12 feet by 12 feet. So we're going to input that information here in the size X, Y, and Z of the cube. If you write in 12 feet, it'll give you 365.76 centimeters. And we're going to do the same thing for all sides. Now that we have our 12 by 12 cube, I want to make sure that the floor will be flush with the work plane. So we need to bring it up by half of the full size. So I'm switching to my front view so that you can see it. My cube's axis is right in the middle. So to bring it up, I need to bring it up 6 feet. So if I change to my coordinate tab and in Y, I write 6 feet. Now my cube has been brought up 182.88 centimeters or 6 feet. And now the floor is flush with the bottom of the cube. Alright, back in our perspective view, let's add some segments to our cube. So click on the Object tab again, and in order to see the segments, I want to make sure that I turn on Garage Shading Lines. So you want to add 3 segments in X, 3 in Y, and this is all we're going to need, but for the interest of keeping everything consistent, let's also add 3 in Z. Once that's done, we can make the cube editable, so you can press C on your keyboard, or you can go up here and press Make Editable. Change to your polygon mode, and we're going to select everything we need to delete. So we're going to delete all of these polygons on the top, these here on the side, and these on the front. Then, once they're selected, press Backspace or Delete on your keyboard, and we are left with the basic shape of the room. I also want to delete this center polygon because that is going to be our window. So select it and press Delete or Backspace. Now that we have this basic shape, do Ctrl A to select all of the polygons and then press D to extrude. You can see that currently the side of the polygon that we're seeing is the back of it. Its normals are facing this way. So we are going to click with our extrude and drag towards the right till we reach about 20 centimeters. And then make sure that you check on Create Caps. We added some thickness to the room in addition to having the back part of the polygon go on the inside. Now that we did this, I do want to go back to my front view and move up my cube. So I will bring it up in Y. We're bringing up those 20 centimeters that we just added. So I am adding 20 to what we previously had, 202, and press Enter. Now, once again, our floor is flush with the ground. I'm going to name this Room Base. And you guys don't have to do this just yet. If this is the shape that you want to stick with, then feel free to follow along. But if you're going to add more windows, or if you're going to change the shape of the window or whatever you'd like to do, then don't add this just yet. But we're going to add bevels to these edges. Remember that this should be your last step, but do remember to bevel. So I will bevel in this case all of the outside edges as well as this window edge. So pressing UL on my keyboard and then making sure that I'm in edge mode, I will select all of the edges of the outside first. Some of the inside edges will also get selected, and this is okay in this case because it's not going to damage our geometry. So now press MS for your bevel tool, and we're going to give this a very slight bevel. So click and drag towards the right until you reach about 1 centimeter in the offset, and then add about 3 subdivisions. That should be enough to round out the outside of our room. Now again, if I am done with the shape of my window, now I want to bevel this inside portion. So a few things that you have to note when you are beveling things is that beveling increases the amount of polygons that you have. Because of this, you have to be careful to not add triangles or n-gons. In this case, all of these that were added are quads, which is perfect. However, if I were to just go in here and select these edges, I would also select these here so that they would also bevel. If I go and bevel right now, you can automatically see that we have some weird shading going on here, even if we don't actually have geometry. And the reason for this is that because I beveled this edge, we got an n-gon out of this polygon. And these points don't connect to anything, which is why we're seeing this weird shading. To avoid this, before we bevel that window, I want to add an extra row of geometry. So I would select this loop on the inside of the window, press D for extrude, and click and drag slightly towards the left. In this case, I don't want caps, because if you have caps checked on, let me go into my room, you would be adding an extra layer of geometry, which could cause you issues later on. So once we have this extrude, now we can go in and select these edges and bevel them. I'm again going to do 1 centimeter and then 3 subdivisions. And now we don't have the weird shading. And why is that happening? The reason is that now we do not have an n-gon. These, however weird they may look, are all quads that are all connecting to each other. And because of this new row of geometry that we added, we were able to separate this polygon from the edge of the window. It's okay if this is complicated. You do not have to fully understand this. You do have multiple semesters of modeling to go to be able to grasp this concept. Just make sure that if you see weird shading going on the way that we did before, it is usually because there is an n-gon or a triangle somewhere. Now that this is done, I am going to go to my model mode and render it out. The last thing is that we are all going to have the same first render. So to make sure that we render everything in the room, first go to View, Frame Default, so that it takes you back to the way that the Cinema 4D camera opened, and then move upwards and zoom outwards so that you have the full room in the center of your workspace. Once it is centered, press render, and there we go. This is going to be everyone's first render, of course, with everything that you add to the room. After that, all of the other 4 renders are completely up to you. So make sure that you go and use your creativity and zoom into portions that you spent additional time on. And that is it. I am very excited to see all of your rooms come together. Have fun!